Hey, good evening, Maria. Back with another video. It's 7:21 p.m. I made an attempt to make a video yesterday, and I got interrupted and lost my train of thought because my son was like telling me that he was making dinner, which I appreciated, right? But it kind of made me deviate from my path. So here I am with another video attempt, just kind of running my mouth off, getting some stuff off my chest. I just kind of a quick update. I've been feeling a little bit better, and I try to keep as active as I possibly can. Going to work every day helps me a lot with the depression. And I did just start off my video yesterday talking about, some of the feelings that I were still lingering through my mind, mainly the frustration and anger and bitterness of people taking advantage of one of my life projects, meaning, um, I'd never asked anyone to ever help me get a job or my family to ask. I never asked their help. I never asked my ex-husband's family to get me a job. I certainly never wanted anybody instructing, because your job should be specific to you. I mean, people should go after their dreams. And I never believed in, and I'm not saying this is bad. Some people have this belief system where they're like, say one, say all. And for some people and some family dynamics, that works for them. But I will tell you that doesn't work for me, okay? And so I was very angry and very depressed for the very long time, because to me, if my life isn't mine, then there really is no point in living. And I felt as though what was going on with these people, and they're taking something that they had no right to ever have anything to do with, and then trying to make it theirs, was just a little too much for me. And so it caused me a lot of anger. I never asked for anybody's pointers. And it's not being hard headed. I get tired of people who think that my autonomy is a form of rebellion when it is not. Rebellion is when you go against authority. And if anybody claimed to have authority over me, they're lying. There is not one person in this earth that has authority over me. Okay? And I will say I do respect authority. Like, for example, I don't like cops very much, right? But I know that to run from the police, I know not to agitate them in any way. I try to they keep their distance from me, and I keep the peace, okay? But when it comes to like my manners or whatever, I do respect authority to that degree. But when people step and violate my rights and tell me how to live and try to impose their lifestyles on me, their religion, tell me how to dress, that sort of thing, I will cut you out of my life as soon as I possibly can. I do not ever want anyone stifling my personal path. And this is the way I choose to live my life. I don't want to be a part of a family or any sort of group dynamic that basically tries to make me live a life that's not for me. Now, my life might be different, but I don't believe that my life is in any way, it doesn't break any rules, it doesn't violate anybody's rights, I'm not hurting anybody by living my life, but this is how it is. And no, my life is not a conventional life. A lot of that is beyond control. But this is the only sort of life that I choose to live. I have no intentions of changing my life to fit into the mold, especially for with people that I don't really care about. I don't care about these people, any of them. Okay, so I don't want to go on too much about that. Mostly, I just kind of want to go on some things that have been running through my mind. And most of them, of course, everyone knows that Maria is a very spiritual person. And, I don't like to tell other people how to live their life. I'm a very peaceful person, and I take pleasure in my own philosophy. And this is what really, I don't know, for whatever reason, it's what helps get me up every morning, having my own belief system and living my own life to how I view things. And this is the thing that gives me energy. I cannot live. I'm a very specific person, and I cannot live among people or be in a close connection with people who live in such a forceful manner. I was not happy growing up in my with my family, my blood relations, and I didn't really understand exactly how deep their abuse was. I just knew that I was always unhappy and that there was not enough activity in my life. Like there was I had a lot of energy, but my family never directed my energy in a positive direction. Like, sometimes if they knew some people know they have a gifted child, they'll put them into certain organizations, certain groups, certain activities, that is going to help them foster their special gifts, and they're going to help them cultivate them and grow. Unfortunately, my family was basically very, very ignorant, just like the movie Matilda, where they had this kid that was, and more intelligent than her surroundings, and they were not able to accommodate my needs. And so obviously I'm somebody I'm very autonomous, and this is the only way that I could ever imagine my life. Like, if I had to be forced to be in a family where we all had these weird agreements, like, well, if Denise or whoever is your family member, if she does this, then you have to do this, or you have to, sacrifice your certain. I don't believe in sacrifice. I don't. I mean, I have beliefs that other people may not understand, but I have the right to have them. And here in the United States, I know people were talking about they had issues with me because they didn't like the fact that I go into meditation, and that I have what they call intuitive or psychic gifts, or that I don't go to church or whatever, and these sort of things. And that's all very well and good, and you can do those, but when you prevent people from finding employment, or you spread rumors about people and try to attack them, then we're dealing with a harassment issue, which I think they finally understand. But it's funny how people don't really know how to act. They don't understand social skills, or they don't understand the actions that they're doing is actually a form of harassment, because once again, I'm dealing with ignorant people. I find it offensive that anybody would ask me to answer them, or no one has the right to make me explain myself. Like, I have the right to live my life however I want, and that's the only way I would want to live my life. And I resent my family or anybody trying to mold my life, especially when it comes to something like trying to force me into marriage or whatever. I'm not interested in getting married. And I think when you tell people that, they always say things like, you're just saying that because you're hurt. You're just saying, no, I'm telling you the truth. When I was married, I never had what they call a conventional marriage. I didn't. I mean, like, I actually came home and I spent a lot of time by myself. And then, I never looked up to him like, oh, I want to do this. Can I get your permission, honey? Can we do these? We never worked in like a unit, in unison or something like that. So we never did that. And I always knew that that was not the kind of marriage I wanted. I don't want to be in a kind of marriage like that. So I'm a single woman. And this is how I choose to remain until I die. And if I was to get into a relationship, it would probably be I call it the olive oil and Popeye setup. Now, the reason why I'm making a joke, right? Because, like, I don't know if some of my viewers are old enough to remember Popeye, but Popeye the Sailor Man had this, like, chick that he would go see, Olive Oil. Olive Oil was his gal, right? And it's kind of funny, but Olive Oil and Popeye never got married. You know what I mean? I have no interest in getting married. You know what I mean? And to me, relationships, I know they're mostly based on sex, so that really is not something that matters to me. I mean, when I think about, I don't know, I mean, some people are sexual people, and if I had sexual urges, then I would go out and satisfy them. But I don't need to basically cohabitate, live with somebody, and be a part of their life that way, or have these certain agreements and financial deals and inner working with my so-called love partner. I don't want those things blended, and that's my personal choice. And how dare somebody actually try to force me into something like that? And I will never forgive that person, ever. So anyway, I'm getting a little bit better. Like I said, I still have a lot of anger inside of me. And I think, I do get angry because, like, the audacity of somebody basically trying to act as if I ever asked them for, I never asked anybody for anything. You know what I mean? And that's what bothers me so much. Like when I first moved here to this community, I I uh I knew that in order to find a job, I was going to have to go apply to jobs, meet people, do whatever. I was willing to put in the groundwork. I never once ever said, "Hey, to my ex-husband, you think your family can help me get a job or anything." I never wanted anyone to do that. So, and I certainly don't like people sticking around in my workplace, stalking me, bullying me, trying to force me into marriage, trying to force me to dress a certain way. I'm an African American woman, okay? Like as if I need to tell any fucktards that, right? Like I know I'm a black woman. We do have issues with our hair. Yes, I do wear wigs and hair pieces and these sort of things. And then you get white people who feel like they want to tell you, oh, well, maybe you should grow an afro or something. I will tell you this about black hair. No, there's a part of me. I will tell you that I live in two worlds. Like, you've seen black people who wear their hair natural, or people who wear their hair natural. Some women don't wear makeup. They wear, like, what do you call it, Birkenstock sandals and shit like that. There's a part of me when, especially I would say like in my 30s, when I was getting very discouraged with work and stuff, that I just, because I was always getting mobbed out of my job and stuff. And so, you start thinking, maybe I'll just go live in a remote place, live off the vegetation and the land and stuff like that. These sort of thoughts that go through a lot of people's minds. Okay. And I actually consider doing that, like, just, what do they call it? Dropping out of society, or like, living off the grid. I mean, people talk about stuff like that. And I actually thought, you know what? That sounds kind of cool, until I actually visited a community that lived off the grid. And then I was like, holy shit, I can't do that. I can't do that. You know why? Because I like having money to pay my bills. I like to get new clothes. I like those things. And I realize that I can't do that. Now, I understand how people sometimes want to get out of the rat race, because the rat race, especially with a lot of employers, there's some employers that just literally allow people to walk all over each other. It's like an animal house trying to go to work every day, and the employer is completely fine with that, and it can be a nightmare and a heart attack inducing, stroke inducing type of environment. I think people know what I'm talking about. I think people know what I'm talking about. So, especially for someone like me who's always struggled, I think people do think, well, maybe I should just do that. Maybe I should just live off the grid and stuff like that. But no, I mean, this is not, I can't do that. You know what I mean? Because I have a responsibility to myself. What am I supposed to do when I get older? And aside from that, my passion for working is very strong. Like, I enjoy working. I do. I enjoy working. And I enjoy working in a fast type environment. I enjoy, like, when people throw out ideas, or we can make a change or something in the work environment, I'm very excited, right? I get very, very excited, and I enjoy that. But when people try to tell me how to wear my hair as a black woman, that really annoys me, because it's basically saying, well, brunette white people can have dark hair, but they have the option to be blonde if they want to. Or a person who was born with curly hair, they have the option to straighten their hair if they want to. But a black person has to do their hair in a certain way. That's bullshit. Okay, that's bullshit. That's basically when you're saying we can, you can't. That is basically when you are trying to deprive someone of their human rights. And to anybody who tries to deprive me of my human rights, I'm going to tell you what, fuck you. Okay, fuck you all up and down the street. I have the right to live my life however I want to, whether I wear wigs or I straighten my hair or whatever. I don't like people telling me what to do. And like I said, it's not a matter of rebellion. It's a matter of me protecting my human rights as a fucking goddamn American citizen. Period. So anyway, yeah, I do get really pissed off about that. And there's times where it just comes up and I just have to say it, But I do. I mean, I enjoy working. And sometimes I go through what I call work guilt. Like, I have these expectations of myself, and like when I come home in the day, and if I feel like I didn't scratch everything off my list the way that I want it to, I get like really depressed. You know what I mean? Because that's my love of life. I feel very connected to what I do when I'm getting up every day, and you know, I do look forward to work, and I do. Some people might think, well, do you have to wear nice clothes all the time? No, I don't. But I tell you what, when you care about something or you respect something, everything just falls in line. Like I feel like when I'm happy, I want my best. I'm at my best, and this is what I want. You know what I mean? This is what I want, and it just shows. It just kind of flows out of you. I think it's, I don't know. Um, I don't know. To me, it all goes hand in hand, you know, and this is the way I choose to live. And it's not about attracting male attention, but I tell you what, I do love my makeup. I do love my clothes. I've come to actually like some wigs. I'm thinking about getting another wig, and not to like piss off my perps. It's just that, you know what, I think I need a little bit better quality because these get tangled really quickly, and I want something a little different. But still, I mean, it's like, you know, I never wanted other people to jump on my the bandwagon and start directing something that was that important to me. Like everything, I felt like everything in my life was very hard. Like I grew up having a hard life in school because of these monsters. I had issues with like bullying friends and everything. And the one thing that I felt like I can do right, the one thing that I cared about more than anything was my fucking job. That is it. That is the one thing. And I know that sounds, some people might think, well, that's pathetic. That's ridiculous. You know what? But it meant a lot to me. So, um, you know, I'm sorry that people don't understand that. Some people would be, you know, they think, well, because I'm older, you know, I should be focusing on, you know, settling down a long time ago. Like I should have settled down a long time ago. You know, I have an adult son, and you know, if my son decides to get married and have children, that's his choice. You know, I do think the world is crap, and I really do. You know, but you know, I of course I would love to have grandchildren if he chooses to have them. But I do think the world is a piece of garbage, and I do think that there's a lot to worry about, especially these new generations that are they're cropping up. Okay, because has never been easy on Earth. Okay, but I don't want people thinking and looking at me like Maria's missing out. Maria would be missing out if I don't meet and do the sort of thing, meet the kind of people I want to meet and do the sort of things I want to do. You know what I mean? I don't know how long I have on this earth, but you know, I enjoy working, so just let Maria keep working. That's what I'm saying. I mean, Maria doesn't get excited when she thinks about meeting Mr. Right because I don't believe in that stuff. You know what I mean? And you know, I think a lot of people have this unrealistic expectation of love, and I will tell you, you know, I do think the reason why they call TV shows and you know, broadcasting TV shows or whatever. They used to call it programming, and I think that there's a reason for that. It does program people, and I was thinking about how unhappy people's lives are because they allow themselves to compare themselves to characters or TV shows or scenarios that don't exist. You know what I mean? Like when I was growing up, I thought the epitome of life, who the kind of person that, you know, people should admire would be like somebody like, okay, let me think. Okay, this is kind of lame, but like Marsha Brady. Okay, and some people are like, what, Marsha Brady? Why would you bring up her up? Okay, no, there's nothing. Me and Marsha Brady have nothing in common. Okay, but what she does represent. Okay, obviously I'm not blonde and I'm not blue-eyed. That's not what I'm trying to be. But what I'm saying is Marsha Brady she's a good student in school. She's well liked in school. She seems popular, well adjusted. You know, she goes out with guys and stuff like that. You know, she has a full life, okay? And this is the kind of person that most people look at and think, oh, this is sort of things that I'm going to strive for in life, okay? And so, you know, you think that life is like that. Like you know, you ever watch on TV where like, you know, these two friends, one of the friends has a problem and the other friend is hanging on to that friend through thick and thin. that person's stressed out just as much as a friend is stressed out. Well, I'll tell you what, I've never met a friend like that. Never. Okay? Because TV and things like that are based on ideals, things that, we wish could happen. And that's one of the reasons why it sucks you in. You get so, you know, drawn in on these, what do you call it? These scenarios and these TV shows and how they paint life out how we wish it to be. But in the reality, life isn't like that. It's not like that at all. And so I personally just find more enjoyment in reading, um, uh, listening to music, uh, fostering my talents or my skills, and mostly sharpening my intuition is what I find really fascinating. If I, and another thing I was going to say, I don't think that, it's not that if I was interested in dating somebody, like I said, I am bold enough and confident enough to go up to somebody and say, hey, do you want to go out with me? I would do that because I don't see any point in like waiting around for a guy to ask me out or whatever. I don't see any point in doing that. And I would just go out and pursue that sort of relationship, but I'm not. And I can't, and I know that my perps were saying that, oh, I would be committing adultery if I was going to do that. I'm not going to commit adultery because I'm a single woman. I'm not married. I got my legal divorce in 2018. And I've been divorced for a very long time. So, I think I get irritated when people want to be nosy about my personal life because I don't pry. I ask people questions, and then I respect their boundaries, and I expect other people to respect my boundaries as well. I don't, if I wanted to share something like that with other people, then I would do that. You know what I mean? But I have no interest in involving people into my personal love life. If I want something in life, I'm going to go after it. And like I said, if that's a guy, then I would do that. But like I said, if that was the if that was my wait a second, I'm sorry. If that was my goal, I would have done that already. I just bought some more yarn and I'm going back into my knitting. Because I don't require much in life. You know what I mean? I'm a very content person. I am really. Um, but anyway, I'm just kind of getting off the subject because, when I finally do get a chance to talk, I just feel like I have so much to say. And sometimes I try to put my videos in order, especially if they're like educational, but this one's just me running my mouth off. So I talked about, the dating thing. I talked about my clothes and my love of being a girl. Yes, I wear my femininity, like, out and proud. I'm proud to be a woman. I love being a woman. That's I make jokes like if reincarnation was true and then I ended up coming back as a man, I might have one of those. I might have a problem with that. I could very well be a dude who'd want to be in drag all the time because I would have a hard time accepting the fact that I came back as a man because I love being a woman so much. I like it. And so that's what it's about. And I think I was accused of, trying to find somebody or whatever. And I will tell you, I've been like this pretty much all my life. Like as soon as my mom told me I could wear lipstick, that was when I've been wearing it since I was 13 years old. So anyway, yeah, and I also wanted to bring up the issue of them talking about my issue relating to my education, not having a bachelor's degree. And here's these very people who bullied me in school have the nerve to throw that shit up in my face. You have the fucking nerve to throw that shit up in my face. I struggled a lot in school because of, the bullying. And I used to think, man, what happened? Like, why am I always running into this? Now that I understand that I was a lifelong victim of human trafficking. Um, it really kind of makes me think like, oh my God, I can't believe that somebody would occupy my time so long. Like they would think it was okay to bully me in school, that they would come into my jobs and bully me there. When I started reading about other people who've experienced the same thing, like some people have moved across the United States over and over again, trying to start all over again because they have these people who mostly they're usually family members, sometimes it's an ex-employer or whatever, who stalk them. Okay, and other people, they know about it, but they don't put two and two together that this person is a victim of human trafficking. And this is what I spent my time trying to educate people on for the last 5 years, and it's been very hard, you know. So anyway, what else did I want to talk about? I'm trying to think, you know, because I don't make videos every day. Like when I first realized I was in the program, back, well, I started realizing I was a targeted individual like a little bit after I left the farmer's place. But then I started making my YouTube videos in 2015. And from that point, it was like slowly but surely I was starting to put the pieces together as to what happened. And when I think about, and then it started dawning on me, it's like, what happened this year in school, and what happened back then, and then I was like, oh my fucking God, these people did this shit to me, and there was a time when I started having problems driving because what was going on through my mind, like I would have these flashbacks of, or just thoughts that, you know, my family was abusing me in the manner that they were, like trying to take over my life, basically trying to turn me into something that I could not live with and trying to put me into a marriage. It literally, I felt like I was going to have a stroke. This is not a joke. It is not an exaggeration. I was having a hard time driving because I was thinking I'm going to have a stroke any minute now because it was too much. It was too much. And uh, you know, I don't want people to look at me and feel like, oh, Maria's missing out or she's lonely. I would say most people nowadays are lonely. I mean, in some way, because, you know, most people don't socialize anymore or whatever. I think I'm lonely for friendships. I wish I had warmer friendships, people that I could care about, and most importantly, people that I can trust. Okay, I have to be very reserved and very cautious about who I come in contact with because I'm always afraid that they're going to have some sort of connection with these people that I used to know. So that's my biggest issue. Um, but I don't sit here and think about, I wish I had a man to love me, blah, 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 blah. I don't think about that sort of stuff, you know. But I do think about, it would be nice if I had like a girlfriend where I could go out to like, you know, what do you call it? You know, thrift stores, and we can go to garage sales or do like, you know, arts and crafts with and stuff like that. So I don't have um those feelings of wanting or missing out on any sort of relationship. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. Um, the only thing that I do feel like that I'm missing out on is meeting more people who have open minds, and that's what I want to do. I want to find those sort of people because, you know, I'm not conventional. Most women my age do have kids or grandchildren or whatever, and this is what their lives are centered on. And so I want to find people like myself, or, you know, I want to live an active life, and that's what I want in my life, you know, and that's what I choose for myself, you know. So anyway, I'm trying to think, is there anything else, you know, I want to say in my little video before I um, close it up. My mood goes back and forth. I have decided not to buy as many clothes this year because I've spent enough money on what I call disappointment. Some of these places online, they close. Like I thought I was buying this wool skirt a few days ago, And I go, this is going to keep me warm for the winter. And it looked like the texture on the picture looked the way the model was, wearing it. It looked like it was wool and it had these beautiful embroidered stuff on it. And I got it and it was a piece of shit and I knew I wasted my money. And so I think, retail, actually going into a store is still very useful at this point. And it's too bad that retail has taken such a nosedive. I don't really think that things that are being offered online should be trusted. You know what I mean? So there are certain companies that I feel like it's going to be a shame if they go out of business because, it's giving a lot of. We still need retail to see exactly what we're getting. Okay. I've basically been very disappointed with some of my purchases. But anyway, no, I don't have any intentions of changing my life. I don't want to conform to anybody's way of life other than mine. This is the life that I want to live. And yes, I was a victim of human trafficking. My ex-husband was able to manipulate the employment sector or whatever, and he had employers assisting him basically to abuse me, and that's an evil thing to do. And it's too bad that I didn't have anyone who was able to recognize that in a timely manner. It was yeah, it was quite unfortunate. And when it comes to, the fact that I don't feel bad that I don't have a bachelor's degree. I really don't. Because I think it's been proven that just because you have one doesn't mean that you're more intelligent than somebody else. But what it does show is that you were able to spend a lot of money and put a lot of time into something only to come out to be an idiot. So I guess I really am not that impressed. So anyway, I have been running my mouth for a while. I don't know how long this video has been going on, but I think I'm going to wrap it up. I just want to come in here and make a video, tell people how I'm doing, try to encourage targeted individuals. I did see some comments on my videos about some people talking about, talking out, speaking about it. And I know that somebody seemed like they were a little reluctant to do that. I know that in my early targeting, when I started making videos, that it actually increased the harassment, because this is a bull, and the more belligerent these people act, the more they do not realize what they're doing is illegal and that it is a form of harassment. So you just let these people do what they got to do. You let them say what they want to say and whatever. I'm going to tell you what, I'm proud of who I am. I mean, I'm not like somebody who's proud of like bragging about who I am, because I don't really think there's a shitload to brag about. I'm not wealthy or anything like that, but I believe in my life vision, and I wouldn't live this life if I didn't. You know what I mean? And I don't want to be a part of society. I don't like how they believe. I don't like how they see things. I don't like the fact that they like to attach themselves to religions or political views that they don't fully understand. That's not what I wanted. And I didn't appreciate somebody trying to bully me into something that I had nothing. And that was all in there. These people concocted their own story saying that I was asking for or wanting their support. They were violating my rights, period. Okay, I know, I'm not bashing people who are overweight. I know people struggle with their weight. And I know some people normalize being overweight. And I'm not trying to hurt people's feelings, okay? Because I know it is a struggle, especially when I understand how empty life is. Life is pretty goddamn empty, okay? So you have to decide what you want to live for. And I know that I grew up in a family who basically lived for that next sugar high. They lived for that next cake. They lived for that next cookie. They lived for that, and that's all they cared about. That's all they cared about. And see, I'm not one of those people. I always knew that there was more to life than just eating a bunch of fucking food. And don't get me wrong, I enjoy food. I enjoy certain snacks. I do limit my sweet intake, my cookies, my candy. I try to reserve those for holidays or special occasions. And I'm not saying that I have a body that's 100% fit. I mean, I think I have a lot of flab. It's not tight, it's not like firmed up or anything. But I think for 50 years old, I'm in decent shape, and that's all I can ever wish for. I don't believe that people should allow themselves to get into that state. And if they are, they should correct their problems. Now, some people are content with being overweight. If that's your choice, that's fine. But how dare you threaten my life because you feel as though somebody that I should be overweight. I will tell you, when I was overweight many years ago, all I wanted to do was kill myself. Seriously, I was very unhappy because I knew that I I loved certain things that were out of my reach. Like I love clothes, right? And I love clothes, but I knew that I couldn't do the things that I really love. I couldn't devote myself to the things that I cared about. And how dare people want to control my state of being? That right there, I cannot help but hate these people. Like, because their life is so miserable that they want to invoke or they want to impose their miserable lives on me. I don't want a part of your life. You know, I don't want your religion. I don't want your politics. I don't want your views. I don't want to be a subjugated woman. I don't want any of that shit. You know, and yeah, I'm very unhappy with the abuse that I put up with over the years. And so anyway, but I will say that I'm kind of a what do you call it? A not a miracle, because a lot of targeted individuals, they never figure out exactly who is pulling the strings to my life, what's going on or whatever. But I'm very glad to say to the targeted individual community that life can get better. Okay, I'm not saying that it's, you know, you're never going to deal with harassment, or you're not going to deal with, you know, illogical people, because there's still people now that still, because they wanted to keep the argument going. There are some people who still wanted to keep the argument going, even though I had nothing to do with it, even though I was brought into it, even though these people were attacking me, even though these people, it was all their fucking fault. But they were so vested in the argument that they're somehow deep down inside, they still are angry towards me because they wanted to keep the argument going. And I'm just like, man, that's evil. You know what I mean? That's very evil. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get off here. I think I pretty much talked about enough. I I don't want to live in a what do you call it? In a low state or vibrational state, which is something I'm going to talk about in one of my videos. And what that is where people just kind of go along with the herd. They kind of follow, um, you know, what is doing done like in the mainstream society without, but they are depriving their own personal needs and wants just for the sake of fitting in. And I don't see where that's of any benefit. You know, I would rather, literally not a joke, I would rather take a gun and put it in my mouth and blow my goddamn brains out if I have to live like the rest of society. That's just not something that I want to do. Okay, so anyway, and I'm not joking either, I really would. I mean, when I was going through this targeting thing and I realized what these people were trying to do to me, I seriously kept thinking, okay, I know that there's a thing called a what do you call it, an exit bag. I kept thinking, okay, I'll kill myself that way, because I'd rather die than live that way. I don't want to be a part of somebody's dumb, mindless religion, or, you know, a submissive housewife, or I don't want any of that shit. Okay, I just don't want it. And yeah, I do, and I know this is going to be a controversial thing, but sometimes I do think that suicide is a form of self-respect, especially if you have to live a life that is so demeaning to you. You might as well just fucking like blow your brains out. So anyway, I'm gonna get off this here computer, and I hope that you all have a good evening, and I'll be back with another one later. Take care. Bye bye.